Hi, and welcome to the Skincarma Pod. I'm Carmine, the creator and voice of the Skincarma Blog. With more than 25 years in beauty as a brand builder, copywriter, and skincare junkie, I'm putting my product wisdom and expertise to work demystifying skincare. Today on the Skincarma Pod, I'm welcoming to the podcast Natacha Bonjout, a French pharmacist and the founder of Bonjout Beauty. I first came across Bonjout Beauty 2 years ago in my work as a product innovation judge in the Beauty Matter Next Awards. Of the 200 or so skincare, sun care, body care, and wellness products I evaluated that summer, this one cool solid serum stood out to me. Bonjout Beauty's inaugural product, Le Balm, is housed in a gorgeous case that feels like a smooth, weathered stone in the palm of your hand. The type of product packaging design that Steve Jobs would marvel at. The product itself is the brainchild of Dr. Natacha Bonjout, a distinguished French pharmacist and skincare scientist with 15 years of research expertise in skin physiology and radiance. Yes, radiance. Dr. Bonjout has literally studied the physiology of radiance to unearth what makes skin glow. Through pioneering research on the complexion at the research labs of Chanel in Paris, she evaluated the efficacy of cosmetic formulations and concluded that skincare and makeup products on the market relied on superficial pigments and oils to make skin appear radiant. Dr. Bonjout's insight? Few, if any, products unlock the true power of skin's inner radiance. So she set out to make them herself, and Bonjout Beauty was born. Its first product was Le Balm Skin Savior Solid Serum. It's a pharmaceutical-grade skin salve crafted with 68 concentrated actives. And yes, it's housed in that precious sustainable package. I've had the pleasure of working with Dr. Bonjout on her brand and the launch of a new version of Le Balm that she recently developed for highly sensitive skin. I'm obsessed with the products and the truly unique brand positioning, straight out of a French pharmacy. Literally. Let's talk to Dr. Bonjout. Dr. Bonjout, hi.
Hi, Carmine. Bonjour. How are you?
It's so good to see you again.
Good to see you too.
Yeah, do you mind if I call you Natasha?
No, of course. It's really
All right.
everybody
Thank
is
you.
calling me.
Thank you. So let's talk about the brand. I've talked about, Bonjour Beauty and kind of its early founding and not really what inspired you, but your background. But I'd love for you to share with the audience your background and, what brought you to this.
Definitely. So let's start maybe with my background because it's
Mm-hmm.
very linked to the brand. I am a French pharmacist and I grew up in the south of France.
Mm.
And I arrived in the US 14 years ago, almost 15. And just to tell you about how I became a French pharmacist, it was really when I was a teenager that I had the pleasure to meet with a skincare expert, and I knew that I wanted to one day to formulate and have my own line of skincare. This was my dream since I was a little girl. Maybe growing up with my grandmother and my mother, seeing them applying product every morning, every night, seeing their French beauty rituals every day. And I knew that I wanted one day to be the expert in formulation. And I met this doctor, this professor, actually, Professor Christine Paulman, and she told me the best way in France of having this expertise in formulation is really to go to the pharmacy school, which is kind of different here in the US.
Yeah.
In France, it's really pharmacists where you go to ask for advice for your skin. It's like the first step for every French woman and man. And then you go to see a dermatologist as a second step or esthetician. But the first step is always your pharmacist. The door is always open and they have this knowledge in skin science, in health, and they really help you to find the perfect product for your skin. So we are trained in both health and cosmetic science. And so this was the day I decided, okay, I'm going to do the pharmacy school, and I really love it, especially. And at the end of my study, I worked in the lab with Chanel in Paris, Chanel Beauty, as we say. And so I worked on a thesis to go a little bit deeper into my study on the physiology of radiant skin.
I
And this
love
was
that.
really the beginning of the glow claim, where it was in 2010, so
Yeah.
15 years ago. So all the people started to talk about their glow, the skin complexion, but there was no clinical studies to be able to validate the skin complexion claim, which was kind of like a very subjective claim. And the studies has to be very objective, with backed by science. So I work with the team to really evaluate skin complexion and the efficacy of the Chanel skincare formulation. And so this was in 2010. And then I arrived in the US, and I've been working kind of in the lab for 15 years in research. So I examined like 100 of cosmetic formulations. And even when I was 17, this was something I was passionate about, trying products every single day.
Yeah.
And when I was 17, my first job was so I was working at the school during the day, and after 5, I went to the lab of Pierre Fabre, and I was trying formula to tell them if I like it, if it was too sticky, how the application was, and I was giving them all my suggestion about how I smell it, like how it looked like. So I became like a expert panelist. It's what we do at Bonjout. We always try the product with an external lab, where you have 35 women trying the product, being expert in formulation, and they give you the feedback, how they like it,
Yeah.
how hydrated it is for your skin, or like a long list of 30, 40 questions. So since I was 17, I was trying like 1,000 of cosmetic formulations. And so I spent my whole career examining 100 of active of cosmetic formulation for big groups, working with different lab, and especially one lab was a French skincare lab for active. So I met the lab, the R&D department of L'Oréal or Estée Lauder, and I sell them the active. I screened the best active for them, and I helped them in formulation about which actives they should add in their formula.
Oh, fascinating. Wow.
Yeah.
So, your positioning, like your career and the way you approach formulation and skincare in general is so different from a derm, from a conventional formulator, from a cosmetic chemist even. Like I've never met a pharmacist.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just so fascinating to me, and I think that's one of the things that really intrigued me about the brand. I said in the introduction that I first came across Bonjout Beauty in my work as a judge on the Beauty Matter Next Awards, and I
Yes.
remember thinking this was developed by a pharmacist.
Mm-hmm.
Like this is so unique to me. I had never seen that before. And so, you have an understanding of what derms do and formulators do and cosmetic chemists do. How do you see your approach different than what they do?
It's all about, cosmetic, I would say, or skincare. There,
Mhm.
it's more when you have a deep issue and you have, for example, acne. Most of the acne, we can't really go only with cosmetics. We need to go with OTC products, or we need to add sometimes medicine to really help them to find the deep root. It can be hormonal. So the pharmacist has this expertise and is able to help with recommendation for day-to-day, basic routine. While the dermatologist is going to try to fix the deep root of the issue. In France, it's like that. You always first go to see your pharmacist.
Mhm.
You know that she's the expert, or she is the expert for the skincare advice. And then if there is like a treatment you need to do, you have to go to see. And the second step, you derm. So We have also this background of formulation. I'm not sure Derm has this expertise.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
we need to be able to formulate at the pharmacist for specific pharmaceutical ointments that we still do in France. So we have this expertise about formulation that you don't have when you are a derm or esthetician.
You know,
It's what you are list, but yeah.
right. That reminds me, of I think that I worked at in-house at Kiehl's for many years.
Exactly.
And Kiehl's was established as an old world pharmacy in that same vein. And I remember stories about how the pharmacist at Kiehl's would compound products like you're talking about, salves and things like that, topical products on site with
Mhm.
medicines and herbal actives and things like that to ease or solve certain skin concerns. So
Exactly.
yeah, that's exactly the same thing, right?
Exactly. It's exactly the same thing. I developed my formula as I would formulate a medicine or drug
Yeah.
with
Hmm.
active. And then I try to find the best ingredients around to have the best penetration. When you see what happens now in the industry, because I was, on this part in the lab, so behind the scene, usually someone is coming with a texture, and so first you offer a texture to your customer, and it's gonna be able to pick up. Like when I say customer, because I used to be in the B2B world where
Hmm.
I was formulated for big groups like
Yeah.
L'Oreal, for example. And so I used to offer, first the formula, they choose the formula they like, and then we add active in the formula.
Got it. Yes.
So it's texture first and then the active. I decided to formulate the other way. So first the active and then find the best ingredient around this active to really empower the activity, and to get a better penetration into the skin.
Right. So this brings me to my next question really was the genesis of the brand and specifically your inaugural product, La Balm. And it sounds like that was kind of the strategy that you took in formulating La Balm. And
Yes,
do you want to talk about that? Like the
definitely.
inspiration for that product?
Definitely. So I wanted to first offer a product the most universal for all the kind of skin, something like an essential of your beauty routine that you
Hmm.
would use every single day, morning and night, whatever the season is. And so I formulated Le Balm as the most concentrated format. That's why it's a solid serum. So there is no dilution, no water. It's what we call the waterless serum. So
Hmm.
it's made of 100% of active. There is no preservative because we don't need preservative. There is no water, so no contamination of germs. And so I wanted to get something, the highest version of the highest, I would say, concentrated version of the serum.
Hmm.
So that's why it has this format, and it contains 68 highly concentrated active. The star active are the native cells. I've been very proud of the patented process we have. It's prickly pear and bluebird hibiscus native cells. And we have also ceramide, hyaluronic acid, peptides, the 21 amino acids, protein, omega 3, 6, and 9. I'm not going to do the list of the 68 active, but I try
Yeah.
to find all the best active your skin needs, because each skin is different. So maybe you need more ceramide than another skin. Maybe you need more amino acids or protein, depending on how damaged is your skin or what is your skin need during this time. So I wanted to really bring something highly efficient for everyone, even the most sensitive skin or even the acne prone skin. So the texture is kind of unique. When you think about a balm, you feel that you can't think that it's going to be like clog your pore, too heavy for you, but it's kind of the opposite. I've been working on it for 5 years to get the most silky texture, penetrating the skin the best way. It's not sticky at all. You don't have the effect of something greasy, but it's still super nourishing. It's like a veil of silk on the skin, and you can use it everywhere. So under eyes, on the lips, on the full face, on the neck. I wanted something very simple, like a simple gesture, but
Yeah.
the most sophisticated version of a solid serum.
It is a very surprising, or maybe unexpected experience. To your point, when you think about a balm, you think of something very thick and rich and densely creamy.
Exactly.
And it's not that at all.
It's the
You know,
opposite.
you apply it to your skin and it's almost dry. Like it's barely discernible. Like you barely feel it on your skin. And I think that also was intriguing to me. The first time I experienced it. But there's two things that you brought up that I want to talk about a little bit more. And I think this is really important. The concept of the formula being waterless,
Mhm.
and that ties directly to the product's usability or functionality for all kinds of skin, but particularly sensitive skin. The reason why there are no preservatives, again, is because the product is waterless, and because it's waterless, you just mentioned that there's no proliferation of bacteria.
Exactly. Yeah.
And that to me is so fascinating, and I don't think most consumers make that connection at all, and it reminds me of like a facial soap,
Mm.
like a soap. We have this idea that if a soap is sitting out on the counter, it's getting bacteria, and you wouldn't want to use a soap on your face, but it's exactly the opposite.
Yeah.
That because it's waterless, there's no way for bacteria to grow.
Exactly. And what I like also about having a waterless formula is usually the preservative is the most irritant
Right.
ingredient of your formula. When you think about paraben, is a preservative.
Yeah.
Phenoxyethanol, which is one I ban in my formula, is
Phenoxyethanol. Yes.
phenoxyethanol.
Yeah, that's in every skincare
Yes,
product, right?
yes, and especially the clean one, because usually, for example, Frido, they still allow them until 1%. But if you
Right.
apply 6 different products during your routine with phenoxyethanol, it's like 6%. So
Right.
I would prefer to, just avoid this ingredient. And usually the bad one are the preservatives. They are the one who kills bacteria, but also they kill the good flora of your skin.
In the microbiome.
Yeah, exactly. Yes.
Yeah. And then there was one other thing that I found super intriguing about the brand and the brand story. It's related to the ingredients and the fact that you're using native cells from hibiscus and prickly pear, I
Exactly.
believe.
Prickly pear. They are all
And
in the French Riviera where I grew up.
and because you're using native cells, can you explain how you're not harming plants?
Yes. So what we do, the lab just takes a portion of plant. It can be like a leaf, a flower, a seed. So just a portion of the plant, and then we multiply them in the lab in the plant cell culture. So
Mm.
it's a biotechnological process that replicates the natural growing conditions of a plant, but you do it in a lab. So you just need a portion, and then by biotech, you get thousands and millions of plant stem cells. So this is so beautiful for all the sustainability questions, especially me. I grew up in the Riviera, and I can't imagine one day, to have to kill all these plants around me. Uh,
Right, to make serums.
I wanted to bring this plant from the Riviera, and sometimes you need a lot if we keep growing. So we don't want to kill the plant at all. Compared to extracts, for extract you need sometimes thousands of plants to get like 1 kilogram of extract. So I wanted something beautiful for sustainability, but also very efficient. And when you think about the whole stem cells that we managed to get in Bonjout, it's kind of, you get the whole plant, the whole living plant cells. And it's like, imagine compared to the extract would be the orange juice from an orange. And
Hmm.
the stem cell is going to be the full orange that you eat, and you have the fibers, you have everything, all the good vitamins that you have more the sugar in an orange juice,
Yeah.
And so extract is kind of that compared to whole stem cells. So I wanted to bring something the most efficient with all the different vitamins, minerals, of the plant itself.
That's so fascinating to me, and truly original. I have never seen that before, or at least never made the connection that plant extracts actually destroy plants. And it makes sense. I know there's a lot of products that have rose extract, say, and rose extract destroys the roses, right? They compress the
Naturally,
whatever and get
you
the
have to
oil or the water out.
use this to get all the benefits.
Yeah, that's so fascinating. So let's talk about what the product does. So you
That
formulated La Balm for sensitive skin, for all skin really, but sensitive skin in particular. And so talk to me about what the product itself does with all this amazing, sustainable technology behind it.
So the most amazing thing is it's really repair your skin barrier. So it has this stem cells potency that going to help to regenerate your skin from the inside out. So you really see results at the first application, but also over time. And you're gonna see it's kind of addictive. When you apply it, more you feel the smoothness of your skin, if I can
I
say,
agree. Yeah.
and the skin is becoming more and more radiant, luminous by itself. Like I have customers who say, thanks to you, Le Balm, I don't need to wear makeup anymore. I'm okay about going out without any makeup. And this is what the most beautiful review that I got from my customers. So it's really to get a very natural, nourished, plump skin with a beautiful texture that really renew by itself and get back to the baby skin that you lost and we are all dreaming about.
Well, we all dream about having beautifully radiant skin like the French.
Exactly. So really what you talk about, you ask me about the brand. It's all about we try to rewrite the code of the French beauty, and French
Mm.
beauty is always very science backed, always for sensitive skin. We use like just a few product, but always with the highest efficacy. So it's all about the less is more approach, where you use the best of what you can for your skin.
So we know, we talked a bit about the sustainability of the formula itself. Can we talk about this incredible packaging? I
Definitely.
mentioned earlier that I think that Steve Jobs would be jealous. It is so beautiful. It feels so beautiful in your hand.
Thank
And
you.
I know this is a labor of love for you.
Thank you. Yeah.
And so talk about how this came about. It's really fantastic.
So first of all, as I wanted something that is easy to carry everywhere, I wanted something able to have it in your hand.
Hmm.
So we design it with the hand in mind. It has to be easy, convenient. You want something that you always want to have it in your hand. The packaging itself is made of aluminum. So I try to reduce the consumption of plastic at the maximum. So the outside is aluminum and it's refillable. And so inside you have a little refill. You can't really guess that it's refillable, but
Yeah.
everything inside is made of 50% of PCR, which is the recycled plastic. So it's kind of the best of all worlds. Try to get the refill. The refill is recyclable, and the refill is made of recycled plastic. So we try to, check all boxes, and it's going to be the same for all the next products we're going to launch.
So what I want to talk about next is how you've just introduced an unscented version, and this version is for highly sensitive skin that's sensitive to allergens, correct? And it's
Exactly.
called Le Balm Unscented.
Yes. The first product we launch has a very small concentration, like a tiny drop of essential rose, white rose that we source in south of France.
Hmm.
And so it contains like a minimum allergen, and we tested it. It was still hypoallergenic, still good for sensitive skin, but we wanted to develop a grade that we can use after derm procedures, for example. So we developed another lip balm, the unscented one, and this one is perfect if you just had a laser session and you have an inflamed skin and you want to use something to really calm down your skin and renew and restore and heal your skin. So you can use the unscented grade. And what I do, I use both depending on how my skin is doing, because the essential rose is powerful as an active. So I still want the efficacy of this one, and you're gonna, and you know it, but it's really like a very subtle, divine smell.
Yeah.
It's addictive to my routine. When I use Le Bon and Scented, and it's very French too. When you go to French pharmacy, all the products have smell. And it's really something part of our beauty ritual, like the smell application. When you apply a skincare product, it has to smell something. And actually, it showed in studies that having a smell, and it improved the way you apply it because you love it. And you have more efficient product when the product smells something. So the unscented also, I created it because some clients didn't want to have any essential rose, essential oil in their products. So I wanted for them to have the choice about which ones they prefer. And I think it's going to be the same for every product I'm going to launch, to always have two options. And you have the choice about which one you prefer. But they are both hypoallergenics, both good for sensitive skin. One is more for the highly reactive skin, and the other one more universal for everyone.
And I think I know that the unscented version is also really great for those who are using retinol, right? And or
Exactly.
tretinoin.
Yes, because
Any
retinol
kind of
kind of harsh on your skin. You can feel very dry and a bit more sensitive, especially if you use it every night, which I won't recommend. But
as a pharmacist, you wouldn't recommend that.
I usually say twice a week to 3 times a week. Because then you have a more and more sensitive skin if you apply too much.
Right.
But it's the perfect combination at the top. So you apply retinol first, and on the top, you lock everything in, moisture, and you repair the skin, applying Le Balm on top of it. And if you have a very, very dry skin, we do do you know the sandwich method? So you apply Le Balm first, then the retinol, and then the balm again. So it's a sandwich method to be sure that it's kind of doesn't hurt your skin too much.
So you mentioned a couple of moments ago how your plan is to have a more sensorial product, and when you launch a product, and then a strictly unscented version of the product. Do you want to talk a bit about what you plan next, or what you have going on?
The second product, I've been very lucky because the ingredient smells amazingly beautiful. So it looks like everybody, like all the people who tried it, because we tried it internally, I tried it with friends, they all tell me, I love the fragrance you use. And there is no fragrance, it's allergen free. But it does. I've been lucky because the ingredients smell like almond.
Okay.
Beautifully, the fragrance is amazing, and there is no fragrance and no essential oil, nothing. So, and so I want to develop always like multi-purposes formula. I don't want to, and I remember when I launched my brand, people around me was shocked because they were expecting me to have at least 5 or 6 products to launch. And I was working on for 5 years on just this little
one product. Yeah.
It's also because I'm a perfectionist at heart. And for me, it takes time to mature the formula, to try it. I've done 123 iterations on this Le Balm, so back and forth and back and forth. I think I've been working with 12 different labs. And this secret behind the balm, because I was not happy. I changed of lab. I tried another one, because when you're a small brand, you don't have your own lab, which one day I hope to have mine for sure. But I've been very, very tricky and picky on the formula, and I'm so happy with the results. And the next product I'm going to launch, and one of them I'm working on for 8 years. And this
Oh my God.
is really true. The lab can confirm it. So really like slow beauty, having really, I wanted to be 100% convinced when I launch a formula that this is really something I'm missing and I was looking for. And usually when I arrive in the lab, I do not have any benchmark. When you arrive, you have a benchmark and you show them and you say, it's like this one, but
Always.
like that.
Yeah.
For the Balm, no benchmark. For the second product, no benchmark.
Well, there is nothing like it.
No.
I've never,
So I can't really find something that even look a little bit alike. So it's very hard for the lab to work on my project. So it's
oh my God.
very long time, and I can't wait to launch it. And I think, Bonjout Beauty is not Bonjout Skincare, because I really want to expand in the beauty world. So it's going to be tinted. We're going to have like some makeup, which I don't like the makeup world because it's not really makeup. It's really skincare with a touch of makeup.
Right.
And I want to have also one day my hair care line. I want to have, the Nutri Cosmetic line. My dream, and I started to work on it, but to have something that gives you all the benefits of the south of France, the Riviera, the Mediterranean diet that I miss here, to all the ingredients you need to get this beautiful diet. So I really want to expand and to have, all the categories. And it's also like the pharmacist way, because when you think about the pharmacy, you have cosmetics, but you also have Nutri Cosmetics, you have how do you say, complements, nutritions,
supplements.
Supplements, yeah.
Supplements, yeah.
Supplements. So it's really a holistic approach of beauty.
That's terrific. I love that approach. It is so unique, and I've been in love with the brand since day one.
Thank you, Carmine. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Natacha. This was fantastic. I really, really appreciate you taking the time.
Merci. Thank you for having me. I was so happy to be here today.
Yeah, and I'm super excited to see what's next.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks. Ciao.
Ciao.
Wow, that was cool. You seriously need to check out this product. It is so interesting. There's nothing else like it on the market. Bonjout Beauty Le Balm. It's so fascinating. And I really love how she uses stem cells rather than destroying the plant to create extracts. It's just, that's fascinating to me. I love all the science stuff. Anyway, check out Bonjout Beauty at bonjoutbeauty.com. I will drop the links into the show notes. Thank you so much. And thank you for listening to the Skincarma Pod. Find more insights, real talk, and reviews of my favorite skincare products on the Skincarma blog at skincarma.com. And if you're listening on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, please rate and review this episode. It helps me to reach more listeners. Ciao.